than 8,000 people will be attending the Pran Pratishtha in less than 24 hours from now. Many celebrities have been invited from the world of films, cricket, other celebrities. One of them is now joining us, Vivek Oberoi. Thank you very much, Mr. Vivek Oberoi, for speaking with us here on CNN News 18. You are joining us from Ram Nagari, Ayodhya. Just tell us, what is the mood there in Ayodhya? What are you feeling right now as you are actually going to witness history as it unfolds firsthand?
I think the only way I can express that in the expression, the phrase that's flying through the airwaves, you can breathe that in the air in Ayodhya right now, is Jai Shri Ram, Jai Jai Shri Ram. It's very interesting, where it seems like a spiritual high. I was just by the banks of the Saryu Nadi, and I had gone there physically to do a couple of live talks. And that kind of outpouring of joy beyond geography, beyond caste, creed, community, even sometimes religion and color. It's crazy to see humanity come together like that, so excited, so ignited, and yet in a strange way peaceful and calm. And I think that's the only the magic of Ram can do something like that, where normally when something's ignited, passions are ignited, you're worried about tensions, you're worried about clashes and conflicts. But it's the opposite, these passions are ignited, there's a fire that's catching everybody, but yes, there's a calmness around it. There's a constructive, contributive mindset, a celebration of humanity and harmony, if I can put it like that.
Tell me about that a little more, because clearly it's like a Rashtra Parv, it's like a national festival. There's emotions that are flying around, and yet it's all peaceful. There is a certain serenity, there is a certain calmness. Why is that? What would you attribute that to?
So that's exactly my observation, like I mentioned earlier. I think that's the power of Ram. Ram has always been a unifier. We can celebrate this as a personal celebration. You can celebrate this as a societal celebration. You can celebrate this as a celebration of Ram Bhakts, of Hindus, of the nation. But you can also celebrate this as a celebration of the world, because what does Shri Ram mean in Indonesia? What does he mean in Thailand? What does he mean in Korea? What does he mean in Sri Lanka? What does he mean in Japan? Why are people celebrating this unifier that once this did the Ashwamedha and ruled the world as per our texts? So I think he ruled it with love. You don't really hear beyond the conflict with Ravan. You don't really hear much about Shri Ram saying that, okay, once the conflict with Ravan was over, he went about conquering all these lands like Alexander the Great. He was a unifier through love. He was a unifier through bringing people together. And in a strange way, he's doing the same thousands of years later. Now, 500 years later, the Ram Mandir is coming. And what are we seeing? If you mute out the rhetoric of the Hindu, Muslim politicization, if you remove away all that nonsense, you see the fabric of society coming together so beautifully, where Muslims are contributing and celebrating, Christians are celebrating and contributing towards the temple, celebrating with us. My friends, personally, I know so many who are so happy for us. And when the new masjid is being made, like-minded people like us are contributing. 40% of the contributions for the new masjid apparently have come from non-Muslims, and people are joyous about it. So I think this is bringing the fabric of society stronger together. You can politicize it as much as you want, but I think on the ground, behind all the nonsense, there's more unity, there's more love, peace and harmony.
I'll leave the politics aside. I do want to ask you, when you got the invite, which I think was a few weeks ago, and now when you've touched down in Ayodhya Nagari, when you're seeing the fervor and the festivity and just the spirit of the people there and the spirit of the nation, how have your own emotions changed in the last few weeks?
Okay, so I've been to UP a lot. I run my non-profit here for the last 15 years, Project Devi, where we rescue little girls from child prostitution, we rescue them from bandhwa labor, child labor, forced marriages, child marriages. And then we give them free food, free education, free health care, and empower them. And over the last probably 14, 15 years that we've been doing this, we've rescued more than 12,000 girls in this process. And because of that, the visit to UP, rural UP, interacting in the hinterlands, meeting, village people and village folk has been something that I've been doing for a decade and a half now. But I've never strangely been to Ayodhya. This is the first time. I've shot in Prayagraj, I've worked in villages and districts, I've been nook and corner. But strangely, this is the first time I've come to Ayodhya.
Wow.
And from the time that I sat in the aircraft, the strangest thing started to happen, right? So you're in the aircraft, the air hostess makes an announcement, and then as soon as she finishes her announcement, somebody just shouts, Jai Shri Ram, and the whole plane erupts, Jai Jai Shri Ram, One of the holy men in saffron came up and requested the air hostess for the mic, and then he started giving, a beautiful, harmonious, sermon of celebration, which was quite sweet. It was quite harmless. There was no fundamentalist mindset. It was very unifying and refreshing. So all these things are bizarre, and then you land in Ayodhya and you see a whole different energy, man. I mean, I was talking to some of the young kids here, and they're saying, sir, even if a guy puts a small tea stall in Ayodhya right now, from where it used to be unemployment issues, he could make 3,000-4,000 rupees per day, not per month, but per day. So what's happening here is crazy. I mean, where your per square foot land would be 2,000, 2,500 rupees per square foot, it's trading at 10,000 rupees a square foot, and it's only going north. It's just, they're saying it will double from here.
Mm-hmm. I do want to ask you, as we come to the concluding part, I don't want you to get into the politics. You're not a politician, you're an actor, so I'll leave that to the professional politicians. But, we know what this moment means for Ram Bhaks, for Hindus. It's a 500-year wait. As they say, 500 saal baad Ram ji apne ghar wapas aa rahe hain. But how would you explain this, let's say, to a Muslim or to a Christian or even to a foreigner who does not know who Ram is or what this moment's significance is? How would you explain this to them?
I think it's difficult, and it's not difficult because it's difficult to explain, because the facts are there. But unfortunately, we live in a world where people scream and shout a lot more, and the facts get drowned by the noise. You have incredible stories of a Muslim archaeologist without whom this case could have never been won.
Mr. K.K. Mohammed.
He's been so committed. Absolutely, I'm a fan of his. He's been so committed and so honest to his work, and the integrity is, par excellence, because it actually makes him a good Muslim, being honest in his work and not lying about things that are convenient. And that's the most beautiful thing about Islam, to say it tells you that you should stay with your truth no matter what. So each religion has that, it has the positives if you take away. I'm ecumenical in my belief. I respect every single religious belief. I am at home in any religious function. If you tell me to be in a church and offer prayer, I'll be able to connect with the divine seamlessly. I don't have an issue with that, because I believe that the divine is formless, and we can worship him in a million forms, or her in a million forms. But I think right now what's important for Hindus to do is not make this aggressive. Think of Shri Ram, be like Shri Ram. What was Shri Ram? He was inclusive, he was harmonious. When you hear about Shabri ke Ber, what more in a world where there was chhoot-achhoot, there was so much segregation. Here he had Jhoote Ber, and with so much love, and we still talk about her. She's a larger than life legend. You can't say Ram and not have the association with Shabri Ma. So amar kar diya unhone. So that's the beauty with which we need to approach this. We need to approach this with inclusiveness. We need to let our Muslim brothers and sisters, Christian brothers and sisters know that this is not hardline Hindu fundamentalism, but it's a celebration of what was, correcting the wrongs, and having been patient enough to do it through a process. Right, 500 years is a lot of patience, man. I mean, when the Turks exited Saudi and Saudi got independence, in the first 10 years, they tore down, a Muslim country tore down masjids, mosques, because they were built by Turks, and they didn't want to have the cultural influence of Turks in an independent Saudi Arabia. They wanted to write their own history, go back to the original. So, you know, when that happens, and that happens in 10 years or 20 years of independence, you know, you had 500 years of waiting, 75 years of independence, and you did it by the book. You're a majoritarian country, but you showed the world that it can be done by the book. I think we have to commend ourselves and not go by a foreign narrative. Know ourselves. We are that people. You know, you and I grew up in a society where we've had friends of every religion and we've celebrated every single festival. I'm sure you celebrate Diwali in your home. I know I celebrate Eid.
All right. Thank you very much, Vivek Oberoi, for that unifying message, that, you know, we need to come together in a moment. This could be a moment of national rejuvenation, a moment of cultural reawakening. The last thing we want is any form of, you know, violence or aggressiveness, or, you know, one side boasting that this is better than the others. So we leave it at that. Thank you very much, and you have a great time there. You are witnessing history firsthand when the Pran Pratishtha happens on Monday morning.